Many Americans are feeling an incredible amount of stress when it comes to their personal finances due to COVID-19. The stock market clearly isn't doing well, but more importantly, people are getting laid off or their jobs are shutting down in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19. There are a lot of wage workers who are being called off of work and are unable to make any money while everything is shut down. So what is Congress gonna do? What is the government gonna do to help the average American? Well, unfortunately, the bipartisan bill that came out of Congress does not do much for people who work for massive corporations like Amazon, for instance. So House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's bill guarantees sick leave only to about 20% of workers. Big employers like McDonald's and Amazon are not required to provide any paid sick leave, while companies with fewer than 50 employees can seek hardship exemptions from the Trump administration. Now, before I give you more details about what this legislation entails, I also want to let you know that Mike Pence is a giant liar, because during a recent press conference, he said this.
The legislation also establishes tax credits that the Secretary of the Treasury will describe that will provide paid sick and family medical leave for coronavirus-related employment interruptions. I expect Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci will reiterate this. If you are sick, now you need not be concerned. If you're an hourly wage earner in America, you need not be concerned about staying home. If you're sick, stay home. You're not going to miss a paycheck because of this legislation that's moving through the Congress. We'll make sure that your employer, including small businesses, have the ability to provide paid leave to you.
Unfortunately, the only thing you should take seriously or believe in when it comes to what he just said was that if you're sick, you should stay home. Regardless of your economic situation, you have to stay home, because spreading this virus will make the situation even worse. But unfortunately, a lot of workers are not covered under the legislation coming out of Congress. The bill does require some employers to provide full-time workers with up to 10 days of paid leave, but the requirement does not apply to the nation's largest employers. Companies with 500 or more workers who together employ roughly 54% of all workers. Now, why is this? Why is there this massive exemption in the legislation? It's because in order to get Republican lawmakers to sign on, Democrats had to make this concession. So it's Republicans, clearly 100%, who have created this situation where massive companies, massive corporations do not have to offer paid sick leave. And even given that, here's Katie Porter, the only person that I've seen, the only lawmaker that I've seen telling the truth about what's going on, and then we'll open it up to the panel.
They have more opportunity. They can still make positive changes. And one of the biggest ones they need to make is going further than the House was able to. The White House resisted Nancy Pelosi's push for paid sick leave for every American worker. And instead, we have a bill that curries favor with special interests and largest corporations in the country, and says that if you employ more than 500 workers, you don't have to provide paid sick leave. And to be clear, it's those huge corporations that can best accommodate the flexibility and the financial costs of providing paid sick leave.
It needs to be said over and over again, because it's like we're being held hostage. Americans forget that the people in charge, people making these decisions, are not looking out for you at all. And then when these concessions or these compromises happen, it's because one group of people is vehemently fighting against your life. They're fighting against you every day. I tweeted about it last week. Every day they're fighting against you, openly and in front of cameras. They'll be like, you know what? We don't want to do that. That's not good for Americans. When I just blanked on it, Katie Porter had to talk to CDC director or whoever it was into a corner to allow a free testing, just the testing part, off of something she already told him before, weeks before, said, hey, we should probably do this. It was a celebration as she got him to admit to do something for the American people, and people celebrated it. Instead of going, isn't this a damn shame that a lawmaker, one of them has to talk someone that's in charge of protecting the American people and finding out what's happening into doing it. That wasn't the headline. The headline wasn't, hey, CDC director doesn't give a damn about Americans, has to be forced to. It was, good job, strong lawmaker, for making this person who's in charge of protecting Americans protect Americans?
Because it's so rare. It's so rare to see lawmakers fight for the average American, right? I mean, on one hand, you have Republicans who are like, no, we're not gonna give Americans any help at all unless you give us this giant concession, which you think it's an accident that the most profitable corporations in this country are not included in this legislation, right? It's not an accident. Those are the donors. Those are I mean, it's so sick. It's so sick. And so if you genuinely care about stopping the spread of this virus, you wanna make people feel comfortable and safe staying home, right? Economically safe staying home. But that's not what's happening right now.
That's it. And the people making the decisions are so comfortable and safe. That's the problem.
Yep.
Is the folks, like I know people keep forwarding around in like this Facebook group all the emails. They work for different companies, and the emails they get from the head of that company saying like, here's how we're handling COVID. And this isn't the marketing emails, it's like the internal email. And one person, like the CEO of their company, was like, we're gonna forego our base salary. We're gonna forego our base salary while this is happening. And I want them all to say, cool, why don't we get paid time off, and then we'll all share photos of what it looks like when we have our paid time off. Because I was reading about like school closures that are happening and how they affect families that don't have the right amount of Wi-Fi to facilitate making everything work. Like the life of a single parent at home who's also working as an hourly earner, then has to go and like run from baby to baby, from kid to kid to say, okay, here's this online lesson and wait for it to buffer, and then I'll go with your brother and your sister. And then meanwhile, the CEO is sitting there like with their Mai Tai, just having like a great day, looking around at their high-speed wired connection as their kid is like, with one nanny and the other nanny. That's the problem. That's the disparity in America, and it's so extraordinarily frustrating. And then just for Mike Pence, who, as you're right, has the gall to say that like, if you are an hourly worker in America, you're gonna be covered by this, which is true except for most of them. Unless you're most hourly workers, you'll be covered. And it's so frustrating. And then they like to say like, listen, we're not just we're looking out for small businesses. And that, yes, you get an exemption if you're under 50 employees, but then from 50 to 500, yes, these people who have miraculously made it to the 50 to 500 mark, but don't have it unless they have some kind of massive crazy negotiating power through market share and technology. They don't have nearly as much of the leverage as the 500 plus, the Apples, the McDonald's, the Amazons, the people whose employees need that. The people whose employees are already putting themselves in danger coming to work. As we've seen from like the Amazon factory fulfillment center worker who literally works themselves to death only to sleep in their car later that night.
Today there was a pundit, I don't know who it was because I was listening on the radio, on MSNBC, who was chiming in, sharing her expert commentary on the Democratic primaries. And she was saying, yeah, I think this whole COVID-19 thing really shows that the country is looking for someone who makes them feel safe. Someone like Biden who will have a game plan, but they're not looking for the type of revolution that Bernie Sanders is trying to sell them. Just hold on for a second. Let that commentary sink in and understand, like, people love to latch onto words, right? And labels to like fearmonger about the candidates they don't like. Let's drop the revolution thing for a second, because we all know that Bernie Sanders isn't asking for like an armed revolution. Like Che Guevara isn't gonna come back from the dead and hold like a Cuba-like armed revolution to get rid of Trump. But what Bernie is calling for, if those policies had already been implemented, we would be in a very different situation right now. There would be no debate in Congress between these disgusting Republicans who just want to protect their donors and some disgusting Democrats who also want to protect their donors, but more importantly, Democrats who concede to everything that Republicans want, which ends up screwing us, the American people. We shouldn't be having a debate about paid time off, okay? People should feel comfortable right now staying at home without worrying about whether or not they're going to be able to pay their rent or their medical bills or put food on the table for their kids. Yeah, I think most Americans are ready for that revolution, you moron, right? But they like their comfortable status quo. This is the status quo. What we're experiencing right now, this turmoil, this chaos, this is American status quo. And this is what cable TV pundits love. Congratulations.
If you're comfortable with it, then you can go ahead and keep saying how you're comfortable with it. Well, in fact, they're telling, it's one of those things when politicians, maybe even some folks on air, will say Americans love this, this, and that. I was like, which Americans did you speak to? Americans love their healthcare system. Hey, once they experience it screwing them over, ask them again if they love their healthcare system.
Yeah.
Or if they love their doctor. I love my doctor, she's great. And you know what happened? Before I asked her specifically, I was there for a general physical. And I see, I've been having this like problem with my knee and I never really get a chance to look into it. And she goes, like literally whispered, I don't know if we can. I was like, I said, do they have the place bugged? Because you don't know how, I said, how much would that cost? What can we do? You may have to check into. I was like, why are we whispering?
We're not ready for, we don't want a revolution.
It wasn't her that was, she was worried about the fallout over it.
It's ridiculous.
Or give me advice. Sorry, go ahead.
We want to have, I mean, you talk about like the Scandinavian healthcare system, and we have in America a version of a Scandinavian approach. We just have Stockholm syndrome because it terrorizes us and we just go like, I guess I love it. I don't know, don't hurt me anymore.
Yeah, but it's given with this proud thing about we're the best in the world. Hey, if we've got so much money, if we're the best in the world, if we can do anything we want, why can't we do this?
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.